Thank you for tuning into the live broadcast of Storm Chasers, a hockey podcast, episode number 9. We are going to be breaking down game 5 and then looking forward to game 6, where the Carolina Hurricanes have the chance to seal the Stanley Cup and beat Vegas. We want to invite you guys to follow, like, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to, whether it's here on Twitch. If you are on Twitch, chat with us. We would love to engage with anyone and bounce some ideas back and forth. But if you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, rating the episodes, liking, following does a whole lot for us. Gino, how is it going?
I'm doing fantastic. I cannot believe what we saw in game 5. Honestly, I mean, I feel like absolutely everything we touched on, what we wanted to see, we got. And I just couldn't be happier with the way things are trending right now for the Hurricanes.
Dude, I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen. Everyone was on Aho and Spetch saying that they weren't doing enough just because they weren't on the scoreboard. They find that it just broke through. You know, their contributions just showed up in a different way, and it's the way that everyone was calling for. So that's dope. But we knew the boys could do it. We knew they could get it done. We have a captain that's just going absolutely berserk in the playoffs and in the Stanley Cup Finals. It's insane. It's so cool. There's so many great storylines with the team.
Yeah, and Jordan Stahl, what, 6 goals in 5 games now? That is insane. 37 years old, dude's a warrior.
Yeah.
I cannot believe he's stepped up how he has offensively. I mean, he's always been a great, defensive forward for us. And you look at his talent in the faceoff dot and his strength and his ability to check and the way he leads this team is special. But to see him show up offensively and essentially score these huge goals, it feels like he's willing us to victory here. And
Yeah.
I think, I do think Vegas has a player comparable in Mark Stone, but I think right now Jordan Stahl is showing
Oh,
that
he's way
he wants
hotter.
it a little more.
He's
Yeah,
you said
exactly.
they're the huge goals. They are huge in capital letters, right? Like they aren't just goals. You know, well, we're already ahead. They're goals that are getting us back in the game, and they're goals that are like, keeping Carolina in and able to win the game. It's incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we also need to give our flowers to Bussy. What a
Yes,
performance from
sir.
him now. 2 starts, 2 wins for an undrafted goalie we took off waivers. I mean, he carried us through the regular season, stepped up to the plate big time, and then, he got to take a backseat ride through the first couple rounds of the playoffs and to come out on a stage this big and perform the way he has, it's special for sure.
100%, 100%. I remember you were saying how big it was, to have a goalie who can, not necessarily steal you a win, but really like make it hard for the other team to win a game. And it's like, honestly, that's what Bussy has done in games 4 and 5, and at the end of game 3. He has done his job, and he's earned his spot to like be in that crease for game 6, and to be the goalie on the ice, if and hopefully when the Canes win.
Absolutely. I think I guess that's a good time to kind of transition into breaking down that game a little bit. Um, Golden Knights came out a lot stronger in the first period than they have previously. I don't know if that's it didn't necessarily look to me like the Canes were playing a bad game. It just felt like the
The push
Golden
was
Knights
happening fast.
came, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They were pumping their juice early. And they get that goal on that power play, I think it was, after Ehlers launches
Oh,
it over the net. Just, I that is a stupid play. It sucks. Those penalties are the worst
he
because you know
redeemed
what? That
himself
that
though.
is absolutely he did, but like just to touch on that penalty or all those penalties I guess we took throughout the game because those are the only 3 penalties we got were over the glass
Yeah, I don't think I've
delay
ever
of
seen
games.
that before.
No, no, but that always looks really dumb, I think, when you're watching, but to touch on it from a player perspective, like stuff's happening in a split second and you're reacting to stuff so quickly. And it just takes putting just a little bit more pressure on your stick or, being slightly out of position for that kind of thing to happen. So really unfortunate, but after letting in that first power play goal, obviously we responded pretty well.
It was a
So
nasty goal too, right? Like Bussy couldn't do anything. There's no way he gets it back. it was an absolute missile. So
Yeah, I
not
mean,
bad at all.
in the same way people have been calling out Aho and Svechnikov, they were calling out Dorofeev and Eichel on that team. So
Yeah.
they definitely got it going there on the power play as well. Um, I had talked about shutting down Mitch Marner, and look at what a good job we did at that. So,
Yes, sir.
and you see what happens when Mitch has a little bit of pressure. He starts to become a little less noticeable on the ice. I would say he loses his impact. So I hope they continue that.
Yeah.
But we respond real well. Was the first goal a power play goal for us? I think no. It was the
No.
Jordan Stahl tip, wasn't it? It was
It
the
was.
Ehlers
It was the
throw
Ehlers
out front.
pass, like that was perfectly on Jordan Stall's
Absolutely,
stick.
it was gorgeous. Ehlers redeeming himself with an assist. Um, and Jordan
Seth
Stahl
Jarvis
just,
also gets a
my
point on
goodness,
that play.
yeah. I think right before Jordan Stahl threw that one in. Stahl finished a check on McNabb in the corner. And to be honest, since McNabb's taken that puck to the face, I have noticed him making a lot of mistakes. He's on the ice for a lot of the goals we score right now. Jordan Stahl is in his head. When Jordan Stahl's driving the net, I think McNabb's a little lost right now. He can't overpower him, he can't get in front of him. And I think Jordan Stahl is really lethal there in front of the net.
I
So
think Jordan Stahl is in the head of so many different people on the Golden Knights. I think it's not just him, but it's Eichel, right? It's Torts. They're all saying it that he can't. He's a immovable object in front of the net, um, and we're
I
seeing
mean, before
how
this
much that pays off.
Yeah, I think before this series, Jordan Stahl wasn't necessarily someone
No
that
way.
they looked at this team and planned for, producing offense. We didn't plan for that either, obviously, I don't
At
think. But
at most, it's
you know,
like you're looking at Jordan Stahl as the guy that's going to go in and get the face off and then be like a force on the forecheck. He's not typically the scoring threat that you'd expect Jarvis and Aho to be. But I think it is interesting because if you look like earlier in the season, Jordan Stahl didn't have a crazy number of goals this season, but when he did, like he scored in bunches. So it's like it's not unusual that he's like really streaky when he starts like putting pucks in net. And I think that's cool to like look at the season and sort of see where those little indicators where that, like, yeah, this is he can pop off. And it's just cool to watch that happen like in real
yeah, and
time.
well,
It's such like
he's
a
getting hot.
yeah, it's such like a cool
He's
environment that is the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, and I think the story, obviously him being the captain here, and like you said, not normally being a producer, just how amazing has it been to have him leading our team through the playoffs here. Um,
It's cool,
I
and
think that
I think like the biggest thing is like the feeling that I have right now, like when I watch the game and like say the Canes go down 0-1, it's like you almost just know that it's going to be Jordan Stahl making a big play and tying the game up.
absolutely, and having a captain you can trust is almost important as having a goalie you can trust. And now everything seems to be trending in the right direction for the Canes, and everything seems to be trending in the wrong direction for the Knights. I think that Ehlers Jarvis Stahl line has been a great adjustment for us. I think it brings some speed for Jordan Stahl, some playmaking for Jordan Stahl, and all he has to do is sit out there in front of the net, do his thing, and he's got great playmakers around him, and clearly it's working. So, you know, uh, we scored one more, didn't we, in the first period, or was it just 1-1 going into the
It
second?
was 1-1 going into the second, and then
Okay,
that's
okay.
sort of where the script flipped a little bit,
Power
right? Like
play.
we saw in every game of this series besides Game 5, Vegas just dominating the second period. I think I saw that Vegas had like a +11 goal differential, something like that. It was over 10 going into Game 5, and the Canes are able to put two unanswered up against the Golden Knights in the second period. I think that's huge, and like you said, just I think taking Mitch Marner and even like sort of containing Brett Howden, that's going to do a lot for Vegas's ability to score the puck. And we saw it pay off. We saw the power play again, scoring 2 goals. It's Fetch on the power play, scoring 2 goals. That's huge.
Yeah, and I mean, another side to look at is, I think we're starting to see Vegas take a lot of penalties. They're having a hard time staying out of the box, which, when going into the series, might not initially have been too much of a concern for the Golden Knights given our power play percentage. But now that that's hot, now that all of our players are going, that's definitely something that I think we now have an edge up on. We were very disciplined in Game 5. Aside from the three delay of games, which obviously are just
Like you said,
mistakes.
it
We didn't.
happens.
Yeah, yeah, we stayed out of the box, and I won't say it was a perfect game. There was definitely stuff going on that the refs missed, but you know what? That's part of the game, especially on the final stage. So, to me, like I think that's another thing the Canes really have going for them. Not only is the power play going, now those top guys are going. Everyone on the ice is a threat now. Our third line, our second line, our first line, even our fourth line brings it. So, I think after those power play goals and kind of solidifying that it's not just like, oh, we had a couple good games, we're good now and you have to be careful. I definitely think that's an edge I give to the Canes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Um,
Part of that. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna. So the first Andrei Svechnikov goal was really good, right? Like he was able to sort of take a quick little shot and thread the puck through a ton of traffic, and it was in the net before Carter Hart had like a chance to react to the fact that the puck was coming towards him. But I think the Sebastian Aho goal was really cool in its own right, and like we're a couple days after the fact, like we're on Game 6 eve right now, but a lot of the coverage about that goal has really been gassing up Sebastian Aho and like the hand-eye coordination that it takes to be able to bounce the puck like off your skates in stride, have the puck rolling up onto the stick, and still be able to just like perfectly place the shot like he did. It was really cool, and it's like that's the type of scoring ability that everyone like that's a Canes fan knows Sebastian Aho has, and it's like if he's unlocking that right now and he carries that into Game 6, that is a dagger for the Canes.
Absolutely. I think Vegas has a lot to be worried about. Also, either late in the first or early in the second, Kandre Miller lays that hit on William Carlson, and he later goes down the tunnel and ends up going to the hospital. Torts said after the game he does not think he will be ready for Game 6 or Game 7, most likely. So I think Vegas also is going to have some trouble now. That actually
It's a
does
huge
create
loss for him.
a big lineup change for them. Yeah, that was one of their most productive lines. And as we saw early in the playoffs when they didn't have William Carlson, they were not the same team. And I think that really showed in the back half of that second and the third period for us. So
Yeah, yeah. What else? Anything else from the second
oh
period, or
man,
you think we
no,
get?
like you said, I think the guys showed up exactly when we needed them. I think now we've had big time moments for Jarvis, Svetch, Aho, Ehlers. I mean, absolutely everyone's had their time in the spotlight now, and I love that. Like you said, Aho's goal was absolutely disgusting. Most people would fall just doing that skating maneuver without a puck. And it's miraculous that he still had the wherewithal to receive that pass hard off the skate, and just find the back of the net immediately. Just a super quick release. He didn't take time. He just shot the puck, and I think that was the one thing I wanted to say about both of the Svetch and the Aho goals was we finally got to see these guys try to shoot the puck instead of make that play. And look what happens when you throw the puck at the net.
Yeah, yeah. Not trying to force that last minute extra pass and just like believing in your ability to score the puck. It's really cool to see that like come to fruition. The last sort of Kane's goal that I guess we could break down, and then I got a few different team stats. We talked about team stats going into this game. But Svechnikov, on a really cool pass, just like perfectly on the tape of Andre. Really cool goal because like in the like in goal view from the camera, you can see the second like Andre gets the puck on his stick, he's like smiling because he's so free behind Carter Hart. He's like celebrating as he's sliding the puck into the net. It was super cool.
I mean, I think that's just how good Nikolai Ehlers is. I mean, look at he said he had the worst game of the playoffs so far for himself. I don't know if you heard that
Oh
post
yeah,
game presser,
yeah.
but and his dad was going to give him a hard
That's
time
funny.
about it,
That
but
was funny.
and Rod played into that too. I loved that. But he still came up with 3 assists at the end of the day, and he's been so consistently good for us. His ability to make plays and it's really a reaction play for him, and it's beautiful. That's not something you can practice, and the fact that you know in a moment like that, he's able to feed it over Svetch with the amazing position. Just being right there at the back door, ready, stick on the ice, and like ready to put that one in. That's exactly what we want, and
Yes, sir.
good things happen when you go to the net. So
I
I
will
think our power
say,
play is looking really good.
I will say, Ehlers does kind of look like a Disney like supervillain, you know. I, especially
Like
with the
Mega Mind.
playoff beard. I don't know about Megamind, but like he's got like the villain beard, man, and like that classic Scandinavian look, which I mean makes sense, right? The guy's Scandinavian, but
What
it's
a what a sign that ended up being for us here.
oh,
You
dude,
know, I
huge. And like people were questioning it, right? Like they were questioning whether or not like that was the I guess sort of big splash or I guess sort of, you know, the Canes have always been criticized for not having a superstar and they were expected to do so much in free agency. I saw a lot of chatter online in like Canes fan circles like did we do enough with that? Is that going to pay off? And I think it's so cool to like be on this side of it, and being like, oh my god, it paid off to the max. And it was not only the best signing by the Canes or the best move the Canes made in the offseason, it's turning out to be one of the best moves made in the entire NHL in the offseason. And I think that's really cool. It's really awesome to have a GM like making those moves that you can reflect so positively on.
yeah, I think Ehlers kind of got overshadowed in Winnipeg. I think that's kind of where the questions came in. He was great in Winnipeg, but they had some top end talent that he played with, but I feel like generally overshadowed him a little bit. So I think here in Carolina, I think we give a good opportunity to players to kind of seize their moment and play a big role for a team that's very successful. So I think that's what
Y'all
that's
heard it
what
here
attracts players
first.
here.
Gino doesn't think Kyle Connor would be a good fit for the Canes.
I didn't say that. I actually do kind of think Kyle Connor would be a good fit for the game. But
Oh my
we'll talk
gosh.
about that kind of stuff in the offseason. We'll have all our speculation in the offseason. We've talked about so many
Oh my gosh,
fantasy
yeah.
moves
We
and
have so many different lines.
yeah, off season's gonna be pretty fun for us. So, but no, back to the game. We really shut down the third period. I thought Bussy had some incredible saves. His save percentage looked great. But honestly, to me, the eye test was even more impressive when you looked at the moments than the times he was saving the puck, and it's night and day from what we were seeing with Freddie, and
He's
I think
just
that's what's
on
really
it. Like
stumping Vegas.
it's
Yeah,
it's like a proactive play style. Like he you could see him setting up for I think one thing that I've seen a lot of is like the additional stops that come behind the first one, and I think like that's where you sort of were getting to the point in the finals because again we'll have to preface any criticism of games 1 through 3 Freddie with the fact that he was absolutely dialed in and automatic in rounds 1 through 3, but it was like is Freddie going to make this first stop? And if there's any chance of the second stop being needing to be made, there's like almost no chance that Freddie's going to be lined up to be able to do that. But Bussy just looks like everything is so deliberate. It's so different.
and I'll say this: the crowd's definitely rallying behind him and in the choice to put him in net, and I think he feels that and thrives off that. I think the team thrives off that a little bit too. So I don't know if that has anything to do
It's
with
just
the
a
way
good
he's playing.
story. It's hard to root
It
against
totally is.
someone
It
like him.
totally is. Absolutely, and I think we're kind of seeing that around the NHL right now.
Oh yeah, especially
Man,
when you're
I bet
looking
you.
at like the sort of uh difference in how the two last goalies standing are viewed or the but
Yeah, I think the
I
Panthers are probably so angry
oh
at
yeah,
themselves right
yeah.
now watching this finals.
Well, there's not
Oh
much.
man,
They never could have projected that Bobrovsky, like, yeah, he's getting older, but his fall off was steep. Um, but
that's
getting
true,
back to
but you
the
do. Yeah,
Yeah, getting back to
Cheap.
the team stats. So this is game five was a rare instance where the Canes were outshot actually, and they still come away with the win. Usually, when I'm like the way I judge a Canes game is like, oh, first stat line I look at is shots. If the Canes have more shots than the other team, they were at least doing a little bit of Canes hockey. So it is interesting to see that they lost the shot battle, but we
Do
sort of talked about this last game. They won the hit, or in the last podcast, they won the hit battle this game. Something that they were losing the entire series up until that point. And it's like, okay, finally the Canes out hit the Golden Knights, and they beat them by two in the most convincing win in the finals so far. So I think the team stats tell a pretty big story here, and the penalty minutes weren't close to the same either on both sides.
exactly. Well, and like I said, I think the penalties that both teams were taking were very much different. I think Vegas's came down to a discipline issue, and ours was just stupid mistakes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
when
it
I
was
look at that,
McNabb too, right? Like he was the one that was being
Mc-
undisciplined. He,
he
I,
was one of them.
I
Yeah,
think he cross checked Jackson Blake in the back there.
yeah. No, we're seeing their big time players take bad penalties. I think that's a sign of frustration, but fatigue as well.
Hundred
I think at
percent.
this point in time, I think that's what's ultimately kind of breaking Vegas, and I think that's an edge that we always knew the Canes had. It wasn't really certain we'd get to see it, obviously, with both teams having played so little games coming into the finals. But it seems as if we actually are starting to see it here late in the series for Vegas, where Carolina's conditioning under Rod Brendamore, the whole locker room being conditioned the way they are,
Yeah.
is really starting to show. I think on the ice.
Oh, 100%. The I don't know. The Canes just seem like they could go forever. Like that's the vibe I get from their play style.
I honestly wonder, like, if we're gonna see, any players go on injury after the finals for the Canes. I've been surprised that we haven't actually had to deal with really any of that this playoffs at all, like from anybody besides maybe Freddie, which I wanted to talk to you about. We know he's been playing with a heavy heart, going through a lot. Definitely, they're trying to ride Bussy, but the fact that they haven't had him as an e-bug, do you think that there's a possibility he's dealing with injury from that cross check, or maybe even in the third round when we were playing Montreal?
Uh I don't think so. I think the most likely, if it is injury, I think the most likely scenario is like he's dealing with some concussion symptoms from the goalie interference that was, I think, what, game three. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just
no.
interesting. Yeah,
I also think, like, right, it's so hard to know, like, from us as like fans, like there could be issues going on with like the stuff, the stuff going on in the background, and um if he's
absolutely. It's
not
hard to
like
say.
in
Yeah,
the right mental space, man, you can't ask a guy to go like put not only the pressure of whatever he's dealing with personally, but the pressure of this game on it. You can't. And I think that's why the Canes are so good, and in the position they are, because it really is like that next man up mentality, right? And Bussy has picked up right where Freddie left off, and I think like one reflection at the end of this run, no matter how you slice it, is our goalie play was really good, and we benefited from having two like fresh goaltenders when the time came for them to go step it up. So yeah, I don't know. I think we'll obviously learn more about what's going on with Freddie and like the details, but I hope he's all good. I hope he's getting the help he needs, if he needs like that social support. And if he is hurt, I speedy recovery. He was such an important person and like pillar
he
in this
got us here.
playoff run. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, I think that about caps up game five. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on in terms of stats, performance?
Well, I
I don't
think
know.
it's just a nice transition. You mentioned like there's some frustration that's showing on the ice. I think there's frustration that's showing in the media room too, right? With Torts. Um, yeah, I think like that's like one of
Do
the
you think it's
big signs that like I think maybe something is wrong, or like for the Golden Knights. I don't know. You have a coach going in and taking out his feelings from the game on a reporter. Like, no matter how silly a question is, like I don't know. I feel like it's kind of rude to call someone
He's
like stupid, right?
yeah, he's
Um,
always done that. I mean, that's
I mean, yeah, I
definitely
mean,
not the
still, but
first.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't mess with the whole like putting people down because you're
I
angry with
agree.
what's in front of you.
No, yeah,
Everyone's got a job to do. You suck it up, man. You're coaching a kid's game. At the end of the day, there are so many bigger things going on. Go answer all the questions you don't want to and slap a fake smile on your face. That's your job. Um,
yep. No, on the Steve Dangle podcast, they put it perfect. Shout out Steve Dangle podcast. But they were like, just grow up and sit at the table like an adult for like 2 minutes.
yeah,
Literally, that's all you have to do.
yeah, the
And
microphone pops out of the stand. You just pick it up and put it on, man.
dude,
There's no
that
reason
was
that
hilarious.
there's no reason that you have staff running around on eggshells because a microphone popped out of a stand. Just pick it up and put it back in, man.
Yeah, he's definitely pretentious. And it's comical. Sometimes it's amusing, but I think people are kind of getting tired of it. I've heard a lot of speculation that this is literally going to be like the only year he coaches for the Knights. They only brought him on for this run.
Well,
I don't
he's
know how true
confirmed
that
that.
is.
He said he is
Yeah,
himself has confirmed it. Which is also weird. I feel like that brings a weird dynamic into the locker room, but I'm not a pro
it's the Golden
athlete.
Knights' identity. They throw pieces away when they're ready. They just like to win, so they're good at flipping assets and trying to just constantly retool. Which honestly, at some point, I do feel like is going to bite them. But
Yeah,
it's their identity. It's what they do. So I think like maybe that's why they're keeping Bruce Cassidy under contract. Do you think they just
dude.
fire towards and bring him back?
There's no way.
Oh my
There's no way
god,
that Bruce Cassidy would ever do
no,
that.
no, but it would be hilarious. Um, but yeah, no, Torts definitely needs to calm it down in the presser.
He's
I
got to
thought, what did you
change of
think about his
clothes
comment?
at a random Goodwill in North Carolina.
Yeah, that's what I said. I texted Sandra after he made the comment about leaving clothes in North Carolina. I said if Carolina wins in Game 6, that same reporter should go and ask when he plans on going and picking up his clothes because that would be a pretty funny dig at him. I think
Oh
kind of
man.
give it back to him in a time that hurts.
Yeah, I mean, well, speaking of giving it back to him a little bit, we saw, um, our fearless leader Rod Brindamore go and make like a really subtle joke about it, in his presser today that I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, to the same guy that he ended up calling dumb or whatever,
Yeah,
and I thought that was great too. He acknowledged that the question or whatever, and then kind of made a point to pause and let the media make what they will of that, and I love that kind of stuff. I think Rod is the perfect blend of like class but playing into it, having fun. We've seen that
I don't think I've
honestly.
ever seen Rod play into it before. I don't think that I think is one of the first times I've ever seen Rod show like that slight chirp in the
I
media.
mean, yeah, I mean, we've also seen it, when he was, what was it in this last presser? Oh, with the goaltending and everything. It
Yeah.
was
Oh
kind of
yeah.
just messing with him. Yeah, I think he's having a lot of fun right now, just like all
I
the guys are.
agree. I agree. That's like the biggest indicator of like wealth in that room. I feel like to me is how good of a time it seems like everyone is having. It's insane.
That's, yeah, no. So let's break it down. Game 6 coming tomorrow,
Yes,
which
sir.
I know you and I are very excited for. You will actually be at the Lenny.
I
I
will
am
be
so
yes,
jealous.
sir. I
You
was able to
get
get a
me
few tickets, so I'm gonna go with a couple friends. It's gonna be an absolute blast.
get me a rally towel
I will
and
try
take
my
some
best.
videos, man.
Oh, you
That is
already
going to
know it.
be one hell of an environment. I am so excited. Uh, I don't know if we'll be recording the podcast after the game tomorrow or maybe the next day. I don't know what your schedule will look like, but we'll have that out eventually. What kinds of advantage? I mean, I kind of wanted to speak about like the momentum switch, and obviously the series having been as unpredictable as it is. You know, what do you expect for Game 6 here?
Um, I low key. You want to know my gut feeling? Um,
Give it to me. Let's see. What do you think?
I think that the start of this game will be a very fast and like very intense for the Canes, and I'm low key a little bit worried that the Canes are not. I know they know that's going to happen, but just like getting used to that, weathering the storm, sort of like they are used to making people do. I could see a little bit of that in the Canes' future. So I really want to see the Canes fight against that first 5 minutes that we see from Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think shutting down their momentum early, maybe even getting an early goal. I think
Yeah.
that'll be huge. But we've talked a lot, about it, and I think ultimately, Vegas is going to be playing with a level of desperation. But I think that's where a team like Carolina, that is super structured, super relaxed, no matter what the situation in the game is, might capitalize and actually score a few. Because when you're playing desperate, you make mistakes.
Yep.
That being said, Vegas is also having uh, or is going to have trouble with their lineup, obviously, given that Carlson's out. It'll be interesting to see what they do offensively or who they bring in to fill that role. I think defensively, Vegas has to clean up. Offensively, they have to clean up, and that's going to be harder to do now. Their special teams hasn't looked great. Their goaltending hasn't looked great, and obviously, Torts made that remark. So we know we're getting hurt in net.
And what's
For the
his
Canes, I
runway
think that's
like,
a
do you
wonderful
think?
thing. Like until they pull them,
Yeah, yeah. What
throw Hill in.
say he
Dude,
lets
no, I
say he
don't.
lets three in the first period. What do you think happens?
Torts at this point, if that happens, I think Torts just leaves them in. I'm not gonna leave.
You
I'm not gonna lie.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
think they. I don't think we're gonna see Aiden Hill play in this series, no matter what happens, unless he gets injured. And I think Torts has made that clear. That's his guy.
Yeah.
And to be honest, for the Canes, I guess you're happy either way. I guess you don't really mind if you play Aiden Hill. He's been awful and hasn't played, so you're probably going to light him up. And if they leave, they leave what's his name in Hart, and then I think we know we can score on him too. So me, I think all the momentum is in the Canes' favor. I'm curious to see how they'll respond. I think it'll be a whole team effort required to win. Like you said, Vegas is going to come out hot. So I want to see everyone get on the score sheet. And I do actually feel pretty good about the game tomorrow. I've had a lot of nerves in this series, more than I have all playoffs long, because we really haven't had to be that nervous. And to be honest, I think we're kind of at that point where I feel pretty good about this one.
I
So
agree. I agree. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to be in the Laddie and just with 18,000 other crazy fans. Oh my gosh, it's an early flight in the morning, but I'm so stoked for it.
well, on that note, why don't you go ahead and send us off if you don't have any last notes or things you want to touch on? And yeah, we'll be coming either tomorrow or the next day for our Game 6 recap.
Yes, sir. And like we said in the opening, whatever format you're watching the podcast on, whether it's Twitch, Spotify, or YouTube, follows, likes, subscriptions, they all mean the world to us. And yeah, thank you again for listening. And yeah, hope you all have a great night. And let's go Canes.
Let's go, Canes.